There's these moments in time when you are somewhere and you can't really believe where you are or how you're so deep in it. And you kind of forget the pain and the effort and the hunger and the suffering, and all that goes away. It just goes away. And I'd say for 99% of competitors, 99% of the time, it's not a comfortable experience. But if you can get beyond that, it's incredible. This expedition is very similar to being in an adventure race environment because we're 4 people, which is really common in adventure racing. We're looking after ourselves, we're looking out for each other. The difference is there's no race. Slowing down gives us the ability to see so much more. Like, oh, there's a really cool jellyfish, and we'll stop and we'll look at it, push around. And in racing, you'd notice it's there, but you'd be gone. In this kind of setup where there's a group of people, I kind of feel like it's a team, which is necessary for survival. We're not doing a trivial thing out here on the Maine coast, because it's aggressive. A couple of kayakers died here quite recently, actually, and it's quite easy to make a bad mistake. So the adventure racing instinct for me is to look out for everyone and encourage everyone to lead. Nels, you're up. Go ahead and lead us. You see where we're going? Nels Stevenson is my buddy from California, and he's an amazing person to paddle with. Sincere, and he's funny, and he's full of stories, and he's solid, and he's really strong. Just a great guy.
You're going to enjoy your time with Ian, I can guarantee you that.
I already am.
No, it's going to be I think this is going to be a stellar adventure, and I'll be the old guy, and you guys can kind of coach me along and help me out, you know. And for my age, I've got reasonable ability, but hey, I'm 73, so come on. You guys are going to have to...
Say what?
You're going to have to be gentle with me.
73? That's amazing.
73.
We have Alva, who knows this coast really well, and it's his career has been guiding kayaking adventures along this coastline, so he's an amazing resource for some local knowledge, and that's useful, very useful. He has that demeanor of kind of unflappable and solid and knows what he's doing, and he's really interesting to be around. Jeremy, who is an incredibly strong, currently competitive kayaker, he's like a tugboat. You could latch onto him and he'll pull you out of trouble. He was on the US team. Always good to have a strong paddler on an expedition, because you know that if something happens, you've got some power to help you out of the situation.
All right, ready to roll. More float.
How much do you know about Ian?
Not much.
Well, this is the most amazing human being you'll probably ever be associated with, in my opinion. He was like 7-time World League Challenge champion, and he's been involved in any number of adventure racing activities.
I met Ian in 2001, and he's always got the latest and greatest strategy of how to do something more efficiently and better, and he's been a long-time mentor for me as an adventure racer.
I still have a Pavlovian response in airports and any time traveling, that it's a race. I get into trouble from my wife all the time. It's not a race.
You can't turn it off.
Can't turn it off. I started kayaking in the early 80s. The reality is I was never a great kayaker, and ultimately I was kind of chasing that, well, what can I do that no one else can do? And it turns out that if you go long enough, no one else can do it. So you just get longer and longer and longer and longer, and eventually no one else can go that long. Over my career racing, I've raced in about 60 countries and virtually every climate zone. Inevitably, I come back to the water because I love it. I just love the water. It always draws me back. I think it's instinctive for all of us.
When Ian first mentioned this trip to me, you know, I've never paddled the New England coastline. I've never sea kayaked on the East Coast. You know, this is really one of the premier spots for sea kayaking in the U.S. Just these massive tides and massive currents, and just all the history of this area. It was really attractive to us.
To be able to see such a vast extent of coastline, and I understand there's something like 3,000 miles of coastline. In fact, we've met people who say that they've been here for 37 years and they haven't seen the whole thing and they're still picking it off. So finding the highlights is important to us with this limited time.
You know, the currents are so strong around here. I'm in Colorado, so we're landlocked. We've got rivers, we've got canyons, and water runs downhill. So it's very unusual in an ocean environment like this to get to see that kind of current and play around with some whitewater skills.
Never would be able to paddle this stretch of coastline in a week with a normal trip. So having the vehicles assisting us has been really easy to load and unload. The Subaru has been a great support in this trip. Everybody in Maine owns a Subaru.
So, we're in St Andrews, and if we put in on this beach and make our way to Pendleton, come around through the islands, maybe stop at Moat, depending what's going on, and hopefully see some big wildlife, which would be spectacular. So it'd be up here, go past the old sow, maybe see that eddy if things are good, and then pull out at Campobello. And that should be a good day.
Great day.